Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the Pollination Podcast. I just wanted to give my thoughts on where I'm wanting to go with the podcast going forward, just a little update. And I believe I'm coming up on here very shortly the 2 year anniversary of the podcast. So I've been kind of thinking about where I want to go with it. You guys know the podcast was my first venture into any kind of like content creation. And it's always been my little baby. It's been like a little passion project. It doesn't have a lot of views or a lot of, listeners or subscribers or anything. And, that makes me sad sometimes. But the nice thing is I don't feel a lot of pressure to like make it highly produced. I just feel like I can come on here and just do whatever I'm interested in each month. And so there's a little bit of freedom in that. But, I've been doing it for 2 years and I feel like I want to put a little more effort back into it. The reason I even started this is because when I'm out working the bee yards all day, I'm usually listening to podcasts all day. That's usually what I have going on. So I was like, man, I want to help contribute to that. And I thought beekeeping would be a nice podcast since this is my entire life. My entire life, I don't have any room for anything else, unfortunately. At the moment, I'm working on it. But anyways, you guys know that I've started the vlog, the Walk in the Woods Apiary vlog. It's been going on for a little over a year now. It's been doing really good. I've been releasing an episode, every Monday morning, usually 8 a.m. And I've kind of gotten in the swing of doing it. That was really my first step out and trying to produce video content. Although, obviously I'm using my cell phone. There's nothing fancy there. It's pretty basic. But, it works because I'm just working the hives. They don't have time to go set up a nice camera on a tripod and buy a nice boom mic, and I can't afford to hire somebody to film me while I'm working. So, it's kind of a raw, unfiltered, first-person view of what I'm doing, and I'm just sort of talking chain of thought as I'm working the yard. Anyways, I've kind of gotten the swing of doing it. It doesn't really take that much effort anymore, just part of my daily routine. So now that I've kind of freed myself up with that a little bit, because it has been a struggle making these videos, learning how to do it, how to use editing software and all that. I'm just new to that stuff. But now that I feel like the vlog's kind of under control, I want to focus back here on the podcast because I feel like there's a lot of room for improvement. I've tried to make some adjustments, like, we bought a nice green screen, I guess. I don't have a nice studio to record in. I do hope I'll have one of those one day, but for now we just have, I'm in my living room with a green screen, just to be totally honest. I've been able to buy a light set so I can light things up a little bit better. We bought a better camera. And I bought better editing software, and a lot of those things kind of go hand in hand with the vlog. But I was like, I need to kind of push that into making the podcast a little bit better quality. I definitely need to get a better microphone. This is kind of like a beginner level mic, but hey, one thing at a time. And anyways, I was thinking about the podcast, and to me, this is just my opinion. A podcast should be, I think, primarily audio. I don't think there's anything wrong with having video associated with a podcast. I think like what I'm doing here right now, just, sitting here in the chair is fine. I don't think it needs to be these like long, highly edited video contents. I think that's just a different type of content. So I do want to go back to just making the podcast basically audio. And the few of you guys that have messaged me over time told me that's mostly what you're doing. You're just listening to the episode. So I'm like, why am I putting in all this effort to produce a video with a lot of visuals going on and people were listening to it? It just seemed like a waste of my time. That last episode 28, the Save the Bees episode that I made, it took me like a week to put that thing together. I'm not gonna lie, it was a ton of work, and you saw it was like a 9-minute episode or something. It was very, very short. And I really enjoyed it because I'm trying to kind of stretch my legs, I guess, to make better videos. So it just took it was just a learning curve really to figure out a lot of those, I guess, the video editing techniques. But I just don't feel like that type of thing fits within what I consider to be a podcast. So what I'm going to do, because I am enjoying making those videos, I also have to understand that maybe because I'm a beginner in making videos, it takes a lot of time. So what I'm going to do, I think, and this is for the benefit of the podcast and maybe the benefit of me, is that I'm just going to start a third YouTube channel, believe it or not. Well, not like I don't have enough going on, but I am working on a third YouTube channel, and it's going to have that type of video content. It's going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to be like really hyper focused topics. It's going to be more educational based topics. I want to make videos too that can appeal to non-beekeepers. That was kind of the whole idea of that video, was like everybody's heard about Save the Bees, whether they're a beekeeper or not. So I thought it would be kind of more appealing to people. And because all my content here is pretty highly specialized, right? It's all my content's mostly geared towards commercial beekeeping, running a beekeeping business. It tends to be more advanced. I don't want to have to stop and explain what a frame is to you guys. I assume you know what I'm talking about. But there are a lot of people who don't know those things. Heck, 8 years ago, when I started out, I didn't know what a hive tool was. So we were all there at one point. So I do want to make some also beginner level content, but that stuff kind of needs to be in its own channel, in my opinion. So if you I know some of you guys have joined the podcast recently, and that's been as I've been adding these like videos. I call them videos, you know. That is still going to happen. And it's just going to be on a new channel that I'm working on. Hopefully it won't take too long to get it up there. I'm already working on the next video. And I want to have that channel where I'm not under pressure to release on a certain deadline. You know, like the vlog has been every week. The podcast has been every month. I don't want the third channel to be like, oh, I've got to do this every month. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be another passion project essentially like this is. So that I'm pretty excited about. And also the benefit to you guys that are listening to this podcast is that I can just, if I'm not trying to produce so much like video content, I'm basically just recording audio, and I guess you can watch my face if you want. I can put images on the screen, and, you know, I can put video clips on the screen as necessary, but I think it's mostly just going to be kind of what you're seeing here, more or less. I will be tinkering with it, so bear with me. I'm going to be adjusting a few things episode to episode. I'm not quite happy with the format of the podcast so far, but it's kind of, the foundation's there. It just really needs a little bit of polish, a little bit of love, time, and attention. And the benefit to you guys anyways, for if I'm just doing audio, is that I can kind of pop on here, make content a little more rapidly. Not every podcast episode has to be 45 minutes to an hour long like the old ones were. If you guys have been following me for the last couple years on this, you know, my original episodes were super duper duper long. And I think there were some things like if things are happening in the news, like for example, I had the episode a while back here where the Trump's big beautiful bill came out, you know, and I didn't really mean to make that an episode necessarily. It wasn't my intention. I just was curious how that would impact me as a beekeeper, as running a beekeeping business. So I stayed up all night one night reading through the bill and trying to find anything I could find on the news about it. And I just wrote out a bunch of notes, and eventually I was like, oh, that'd be a cool episode. So I typed up a little script with it. Literally just jumped in the chair and recorded for like 6 minutes or something. It was super basic. I just read the script on the screen, you know, like this. And it did pretty good. You know, it got a couple thousand views, which, you know, most of my podcast episodes barely break 100 views. So I was like, holy crap. And I put like literally the least amount of possible effort into that outside of what I was already doing, like for my own personal benefit, you know, doing the research. And I was like, well, man, I need to be able to do that. I need to be able to come out and react if there's something going on in the beekeeping world and the beekeeping news. The channel is obviously here is going to stay beekeeping based, but there's a ton of stuff going on in politics and everything right now that is going to affect our industry. And I would love to just be able to share my opinions and hopefully not get burned at the stake for sharing some of those political opinions. But, you know, I assume if you're listening to the podcast, I know a lot of you guys are listening to benefit your own beekeeping operation, but I hope you value my opinion a little bit. So that I do want to be able to give my opinion on those things. So the nice thing is I'm going to kind of remove, I was doing one episode a month for the podcast, and I was doing that because I didn't want to burn out, honestly, because I was learning how to do the podcast. And then as soon as I kind of got the hang of the podcast, you know, we launched the vlog. But now I've been doing the podcast for 2 years, the vlog for 1 year. And I feel like they're both kind of stabilized. I've got better at editing and, you know, and gotten the hang of the whole, you know, content creation process, which was honestly was way more effort than I ever thought going into it. It's been a big learning curve. But now it's getting a little more routine. The vlog isn't taking so much effort. So I'm going to probably remove like I'm only doing 1 month thing. I'm still going to release an episode a month. I mean, for sure. I don't want the podcast to die or me kind of to fall off the wagon with it. But I do, you know, I want to be able to jump on here if there's something interesting or I just have a thought and just share it. So, even if that's, I hop in here and I record for 5 minutes and it's just that, I mean, I want to be able to do that. It's a passion project. So I want to be able to share my passion about beekeeping and everything that impacts me and you and all of us out there that are beekeepers, and for whatever that's worth. And the flexibility of basically just doing audio is going to help. I know you guys can't see what's going on here in the background, but with the green screen and the lights and the microphone, all this stuff is now set up as of like this episode. It's set up permanently. And that was a big deal before on the prior episodes. It took me like 30 minutes to an hour to set up all the lights and the green screen and all this crap, believe it or not. So by the time I got to record, I was like, I've already been working on this for an hour. I want to go to bed. I got to go do 100 hives in the morning. Now it's permanent. So basically, all I have to do is just sit down here and hit record. So for better or for worse for you guys, I'll be able to put out episodes more often. So I'm not going to guarantee anything. It's not going to be an episode a week or whatever. But I'm a lot more limber, I guess, when it comes to recording these things. So, and some other things I also have to factor in as far as like releasing content goes for this is I have to understand myself that as a beekeeper, I kind of, my work is seasonal. So in spring, I'm super busy. In summer, I'm super busy. Fall and winter, things start, loosening up for me a little bit. Obviously, we do California, so it's not like I have a day off necessarily, but I have wiggle room in my schedule. And that's why I've had time to think over about the podcast a lot too, because it's just fall and I have more time to think. So what'll happen, I think realistically, is like fall and winter, I'll put out a bunch of episodes. And then spring and summer, I'll just put out less because I'm just really busy. There's not enough time in the day to make all the splits and to move the hives and to raise the queens and deal with customers and that whole shebang in spring. It doesn't mean I'm going to shut the podcast down, but I might back off to that 1 month thing that I was doing. I've been able to keep that up. So you may see the podcast will be a bit of a seasonal release date, and it kind of makes sense. As a beekeeper, I don't know, it makes sense in my mind. Some other things I want to try is I do want to try my hand at doing some live chats. So Grayson interviewed me for a live chat on his channel. I think it was Wildwoods Honey Farm, if I remember correctly. And then Bruce of Bruce's Bees, he interviewed me quite a while ago now. But they were my first 2 live chats, and it was pretty cool because the audience got to interact and leave comments, and it was like a live thing. It was kind of interesting. A little more nerve-wracking because you can't go in there and edit when you say something stupid, but it was more real, and I really enjoyed that experience of just being able to communicate with people in real time and have real-world conversations. So I am working on setting up a live chat, and if it goes well, if it does, I'll probably do some more of those for the interviews. I know some guests have told me like they don't want to do live chat because they get a little nervous. Or, if they happen to be a company, I know they may want to review the footage first or something for liability purposes. And I totally get that, but probably the average person, I'm going to be like, hey, man, let's just do a live chat. It'll be fun. So hopefully you'll see some of those. I'm still doing some research on the best way to put those videos out. I've got a lot of options to me, but I'm talking to like Grayson and Bruce. And, I'm talking to Grayson. I need to reach out to Bruce as well and see how they're doing it. So that's on the way. I do have a few more interviews lined up. I've been kind of dragging my butt setting those up. But again, it's just been kind of hard to get the podcast episodes out on time. So those are coming. And another thing I'm doing, it's a small thing. I am going to delete the Facebook page for this podcast. I didn't know what I was doing when I made it. 2 years ago, I thought it'd be cool to have a Facebook page, but like nobody's on it anyways, honestly. So now I can make posts on YouTube, and I have a little community tab I'm trying to learn how to use. So that's going to go away for the 2 of you guys that have actually know that it exists. I'm just saying it, putting it out there. The other thing is because I'm sort of trying out new things here with the podcast and I'm going to try to focus on a little more, is that I'm really open to feedback from you guys that are listening. There's not a whole lot of you guys that do listen and comment. So like your comment has a lot of weight to it if you're one of the 5 people that are listening to the podcast. So if you got any like suggestions on anything I should do, understanding that it's going to be mostly audio based now versus, outside of the camera here. And just understand that there will be a 3rd video channel. So I'm not giving up on the video content. It just needs its own place. It just does not fit within the podcast, in my opinion. the vlog is a thing. The vlog is like a video journal. So I kind of feel like that's sort of its own thing. So I'm definitely open to feedback. Bear with me too. I'm going to be trying out like different backgrounds with the green screen. I'm going to be tinkering with the intro and the outro to the podcast. Sometimes I like the music. Sometimes I absolutely hate the music. I hate the intro. And then I love the intro. I can't decide. So definitely open to feedback on that. And just understand I'm going to be like adjusting it for a while because I'm just not really happy with the format of the podcast yet. But again, it's kind of there. The foundation is laid for it. I just need to put a little more effort into it. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's about it, guys. So I'm going to hopefully have this episode out pretty soon. There's probably going to be a lot more episodes like this where I'm just, again, just popping in, just updating, just talking a little bit. If you guys are watching the vlog, there might be a little bit of overlap between that. I'm going to try to keep what I say in the vlog separate from the podcast. And I do want to focus on specific topics here on the podcast. The vlog is obviously what I'm doing week to week. I would like the podcast to cover larger topics. Definitely looking for anybody else that wants to be on, so I can. I'm happy to do interviews. You guys want to, try out a live chat? Definitely, I'm all cool for it. I'm pretty flexible in the evenings when I get back from the bee yard. So, we'll just try it out. I think it could be fun. I want to kind of see the podcast grow a little bit. And again, this is my baby, so I want my baby to be happy. I want to see it grow and prosper. So. That's pretty much about it, guys. So I know I rambled a little bit, but I just wanted to give an update. Podcast isn't going anywhere. In fact, I hope it's going to grow here. And keep an eye out for that third channel. I'll announce it once it's out, once I have the video done for it. And we'll see how that goes. It'll just be a different thing for me. So thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate you listening, and I'll catch you soon. See ya. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Pollination Podcast. My name is Matthew Walker, owner of Walk in the Woods Apiary. I hope I have answered some of your beekeeping questions. Please leave your comments down below. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please reach out to me at thepollinationpodcast@gmail.com.